Hello, viewers. Good evening and welcome. To the couch with moi. It's a lovely Tuesday evening, and if you follow us, then this is one of our probably highly advertised shows. Today we are discussing the number, of presidential staffers, the list that has just come out. That is the magic number 998. Very close to 1,000, and we want to look at the implications. What does it mean? The implications for the public purse, the implications for somebody like me, a constitutional law student. What does it mean? The argument comes up: is it time for a constitutional review? Let's take a look at our constitution. Let's see if it's time for an outright capping of numbers. Is the legislature enough check on the executive in that there's the need for parliamentary assent? Is this enough? Has this been a deterrent in the past? Is it a deterrent today? All of these issues come up. Now, like I intimated before, I'm only a law student. I have a lawyer in the house. He also speaks for the NDC as a political party. And so, yes, he's here to help us perhaps understand the issues, understand the nuances, and all the dynamics, that come up in this discussion. I would want you to stay with me, but before then, a bit of housekeeping. Let me acknowledge my sponsors before we get into the main talking. I'd like to acknowledge Rudy K Beauty Bar for my makeup. Thank you very much. Her number is 02499 39320. I'll say that again. It's 02499 39320. She did the makeup. I'd also like to say thank you to Bomat Designs. They are located at La Paz in Accra. Her number is 020-294-6149. Again, 020-294-6149. So, contact either Rudy K or Bomat Designs. Her name is Martha, and she'll do you justice. Also, I'd like to acknowledge my other sponsor, Bridge. You'll see me soon with my lovely laptop. But I want you to join in the conversation, so ahead of time, you could send in your views, WhatsApp messages, text messages to the numbers that are scrolling in front of the screen. I think it's about time I introduce my guest, isn't it? Yes, it is. Edudzi.
Good evening.
Welcome to the couch.
Thank you. My first time
Yes.
coming on the show. Well, I've been on the other platforms within this particular station,
Yeah.
but particularly with the couch, this is my very first time. I'm hopeful that it's going to be a lovely discussion.
It is going to be a lovely discussion,
Yes,
as always.
yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
as always.
yeah,
Whenever we
sure.
meet, it's lovely, isn't it?
And today you are more the one going to moderate. Oftentimes we've been panelists together.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Maybe with your new role, let's see how it pans out.
Okay. Now I have the what's it called to be a bully. That's the only difference, isn't it?
I don't know how it's going to pan out, so let's see how it goes.
Is the couch comfortable?
Absolutely.
Great,
I'm enjoying it.
Stuff.
I'm
Great
enjoying it.
stuff.
Yeah.
So you are very comfortable, and
Absolutely.
when I start firing, you are very easy to take everything.
I'm just coming from court, so I'm prepared.
That's great. Let's start from the top, Edudzi. Let's go straight, into the law. I mean, your specialty. As it stands now,
Yeah.
the laws that we have in this country, does it help us in terms of allocations, governmental executive allocations? I mean, are laws favorable?
I can say that obviously in Ghana, the laws that we have, obviously the parents being the 1992 Constitution, we have our statutes, our own customary laws, and what have you. The understanding is that law generally is an organic thing. And because law is an organic thing, you'd expect it to grow with a growing society. And you'd recall that 1992, when we had the Constitution, you can tell me whether there was WhatsApp. You can tell me whether most of the things that we do have. As at 1992, to make a phone call, you need to go to PTC, join a queue. Then we had space to space. I mean, today our ways of life have changed in varied forms. So if you have a situation where a constitution was done in 1992 and you are speaking in 2018, you can tell that a lot of our lifestyles have changed. you need to have the law change with changing times. That's where the problem will be. As you are aware, we already have a constitution review process in place. My hope is that the implementation will be done so that a few of the constitutional provisions that we want amended will be done. And once the constitution is amended, as for statutes, every day and then new laws are coming. I understand as we speak, there is a bill in Parliament for witness protection. It has never been part of our laws. So we are learning and ensuring that, you know, we improve upon the law to reflect changing times. As somebody would say, I mean, and because of this platform, you also being the host, if you go to the advanced country, there's something called revenge pornography, where, for instance, because of how intimate relationship you have with somebody, you share certain intimate, you know, pictures, videos, or what have you. Maybe the relationship gets sour and gets broken down, and then the next time you see the man or whoever leaks it outside, you are able to prosecute whoever did it, and there are lengthy prison sentences. The question is, at the time when the Criminal Offences Act, for instance, 1960 was put up, there was no such thing about sharing videos and what have you. But today, changing time. So you want to have a situation where our members of Parliament can come out with laws that ensure that some of these ills are immediately dealt with. It protects citizens and everybody. So I can only say that we are a developing country.
You also believe in constitutional reform.
Yes. And we need constitutional, statutory, all the reform that we need, so that we will have a situation where we will have, you know, our people.
Something.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, when this issue came up, you know, all this, you know, the magic number 998 and all of that. Of course, if you listen to the radio and you watch the TV stations, it's the same thing, you know, all over again. You know, same as always. This person on this side says this, that person on that side says this. Same thing over and over again. The issue for me is, now the argument is being made that the numbers were already high, and what is happening now is just an add-on, you know, to what exists already. Of course, the little education that I've done, you know, tells me that you can't make that argument, because the Constitution mandates that whoever is appointed at the pleasure of the president. And so when the president is done and he's leaving, basically the staffers are leaving with the president. That's what our Constitution says. However, I also know that there's what is and what should be. Exactly. So, I mean, educate me here. And I just need education.
I think what you should know is that the Constitution obviously creates three arms of government.
Yes.
The judiciary, the legislature, and the executive. Now, the executive power flows essentially from articles.
Edudzi, hold on. Just hold on with that thought. Viewers, we would like to take a quick question break and take it again, basically. We'll be back.
The Bridge Kiddie tab is your best gadget option for the kids. It is a real tablet with a lot of educational and entertaining apps. It is very strong and durable. Bridge Kiddie Tab, the best learning companion for every child.
Welcome back from the break, viewers. Sorry about that. We sort of cut the discussion just when we're getting to the meat. We are back. As you were saying.
Yes, so I made the point about the three arms of government. And these three arms of government, you need personnel to man it. So when you go to the judiciary, you have the judges, the chief justices, court clerks, and what have you, bailiffs, to ensure the orderly manner in which the judiciary works. When you go to parliament, beyond the speaker and the members of parliament, you have the whole parliamentary service. It's a whole setup. It's a whole bureaucracy on its own. You need somebody to be a secretary to the committees. You need clerks of parliaments and what have you. Now, the executive, being the president, needs to operate beyond the ministers. He needs persons who would help him. So the chief of staff, the deputy chief of staffs, presidential staffers, and other supporting staffs. Now, the constitution tries to ensure checks and balance. So the presidential office act, for instance, provides that at the end or the beginning of the year, the executive must present to parliament
the list of
staffs at its disposal or it is working with. What it does is to ensure transparency and accountability, because these are the governing principles under the 1992
But as you see, I've noticed that you've taken me off the question I asked you, but I'll come there, so I'm allowing you. The issue for me here is, educate me if I'm wrong, unless I'm mistaken. It simply says to submit to parliament, present it to parliament. Now, I was trying to find that earlier. I was trying to read through it. I'm at a loss. If parliament sort of disagrees with the number, which of course in its own might not happen, considering the majority-minority issue we have in parliament already as it stands now. But let's assume that we have some wonderful parliament which decides on conscience suddenly and not on party lines, and they decide that they are not in support of the numbers. What would happen?
I think that the power of parliament, and so let me run you through this. You see, for instance, if you pick the 2017 budget statement and you go to say appendix 5 of the budget statement, you notice that the executive that prepares the budget went to parliament and said, you know what, we are budgeting for 953 staffs. So once that is done, parliament will then say, okay, if you are budgeting for this number of staffs, how much are you going to spend on them? So we call it the Office of Government Machinery. How much do you need? Because at the end, parliament must approve of the budget. Because without approval, if you spend one Ghana cedis, you are in trouble. So parliament that gives the approval that you can recruit this number within this year. If you want to go above that number, you need to come back for approval. So if you pick the 2018 budget statement again, appendix 5, it is clearly stated that government of Ghana is budgeting an amount of 119 million Ghana cedis for the executive to employ 1,695 people.
That is being contested, Edudzi.
No, as for the number in the budget, like I indicated, that is what has been budgeted for. As we speak, government tells us that they've only gotten 998, but they have budgeted for 1,675. So what it means is that by close of year, December, government should be getting to that number and should have spent 119.
Yes, sure. You are not answering my question.
No, you see,
my question is, my question is, and I'm asking you this question because you're a lawyer. I want you to give me some a better understanding of the constitution in terms of this particular provision. If Parliament says no, let's assume, I mean, it's very unlikely, but let's assume, let's be fanciful in our thoughts. If Parliament says no, we disapprove of this number, what would happen?
You see, that's why I was telling you that.
Because in order for the checks and balances to be effective, there has to be a punishing mechanism or
you see,
an actual
I don't want us to
wrong
drift.
choice of words.
No, I don't want us to drift into a more utopian situation.
No. I just need a background, then we'll come down.
Yes, I get you. But what I'm saying is that you see, Parliament itself passed the Presidential Office Act. Okay, that's an act of Parliament. Then the Constitution. So you notice that, for instance, as to ministerial, there's no ceiling. We may have a president who will come and appoint 200 ministers. You can't do anything to him. Parliament cannot stop him. That means the president, you cannot.
So in this case, then my question to you is that how real is this checks and balances we speak of? This parliamentary assent? How effective is it? Is it just...
No. The check here is the fact that, for instance, like I told you, the 2018 budget, you have budgeted for 119 million Ghana cedis to take 1,695 workers. You understand? That's a check. It's a budget. You must operate within it.
But I can come back and say...
Good. So remember, you use the word, I can come back.
Yeah.
You need to come back for that approval. Or if you expend, you need to come back to me and say, you know what? You told me to take 1,000 this number. I needed 2,000. So please give me further budget to accommodate this number. That's a check enough. That's a check, because you are accountable. You see, but at the end of the day, what we should know is that you are accountable to somebody. You know what? But for the fact that there are checks and balances, we will never have seen this list. That in itself is part of the checks, is part of the transparency, is part of the accountability process, because the law demands. If there was no law, the president will not be under any obligation whatsoever to even submit the list to Parliament.
So we wouldn't know.
No. What is not under any obligation? In fact, you can exercise a discretion. But in this case, per law, you have no discretion. You have to just go and submit it to Parliament. Whatever Parliament decides to do with that list, that's within Parliament to decide. But you need to do that.
You need to submit it.
And like we found our president over the years, periodically at the beginning of the year, the list is presented. Yes.
Okay, so let's talk a bit of history. You know, let's talk recent history and help me with the numbers, because I know you have it. If you could just give us some of the figures over time.
Yes.
I'm asking this question because I'm going back to my original question, which is that I need to know the number that existed and how much has been added on.
Sure.
Because even that is in contention.
Yes. I think what we should know, and remember that the 1992 Constitution, we started with Jerry Rawlings.
Yes.
He operated in the region of somewhere 300 and so. And remember that at that time, we're growing our civil and public service. Okay. Then came Mr. Kufuor. Remember, for instance, that Maslock is part of the office of the president. So all Maslock staffs fall under the office of the president. Two, you also have a situation where we are having a growing bureaucracy. New agencies are coming under the office of the president. Because you see, the president wants to have a certain control and working, and to know who is doing what and who is not doing what. You have ACE Commission. It is under the office of the president. Okay, so once you have ACE Commission, the staffs there become part of the government machinery. So if you look at the trajectory, the numbers keep increasing. Today, and I can understand why the numbers are increasing, because for instance, you have under the office of the president, okay, free SHS secretariats, under the office of the president.
That's new. That's a new creation.
Obviously. So you can see where the number or the shot will be coming from.
I think you've concluded the matter for us.
Yes.
So you are saying that naturally the numbers would increase.
Because, you see, the argument here is this. The Free SHS Secretariat can be under the Education Ministry. So that if it's under the Education Ministry, then you do not need the office of the president managing that. 2, it is a program under the Ministry of Education that Ghana Education Service can handle effectively. So you can just have somebody at the Education Ministry to handle it.
Sorry to cut you. In terms of the public purse, that doesn't do much for me. Because whether it falls under the Ministry of Education or it falls under the presidency, it's still taxpayers' money that's going to be used to pay finance.
Not necessarily. Anyways. At the beginning of the year, a certain amount of money is approved or allocated to the office of the president. Okay. Now, if you look at the statistics, it has shot up. It is all because of these events. Okay. For instance, the amount of money that was...
Sorry again. Wouldn't that mean that the money allocated to the Ministry of Education, for instance, would also come down?
No.
Consider something has been taken from them.
It does not.
It's a new creation.
It does not necessarily work
like
that way.
Okay.
Because the fact that that secretariat is under the Ministry of, the office of the president, does not mean you are paying less people at the Education Ministry. It does not.
Okay.
It is not as though you have an existing structure in the ministry that you are now bringing to the office of the president. This is a new setup.
A new creation.
So that if you take it to the Education Ministry, the correspondent cost will go there.
Okay.
If you bring it this way, you are only shifting the cost. But it's an entirely new creation. 2, some of the individuals that we have seen, and in fact the list is out there in public, some of these guys are persons who, and in the words of Franklin Kujo, they are noisy quote Facebookers.
Okay. So now you are saying something else, Edudzi.
No, I'm just trying to let you know that you have a situation where the excess may be coming from hands that, in fairness, we do not need.
Okay.
Because you have already a working civil service that you can operate with.
Okay. So what you are saying is that naturally the numbers would increase.
Sure.
Naturally it would increase. But what we are seeing in this particular instance involves excesses.
Yes. And then the allocation. Okay. The allocation by way of monetary compensation. Okay. Because you see, you must know that there is cost to everything. What is the cost in keeping the number? For instance, if you take 2,000 people and you pay them, say, 500,000 Ghana cedis, and you take 1,200 and you pay them 600,000, the analysis will show that even though you have a smaller number, you are paying more for their services. In this case, you have a larger number and you are paying more. So that is where the discussion is. Because you see, at the end of the day, a higher standard may be, you hold somebody to a higher standard by reason of his own words. If I come here and begin to espouse certain, quote, high moral grounds, accountability, transparency, and I don't like those words, or my deeds do not reflect those words, then I better not speak of those words. So that, for instance, if I, Edudzi, criticize you for having, quote, Obolo government, the expectation is that when I come, I should have a lean government. So when I come and I have a double Obolo government, then people will then ask, what is the standard that you espouse? What is the principle? And we should always know that principles should not change because individuals are changing. Principles are principles. So what is the higher standard now? We want a lean government. Look, if you go all over the world, even bigger corporations are now downsizing, because what people are looking for is efficiency. What you do in terms of output using the smallest number, so that if 10 people can achieve what 20 people can do, then maintain the 10. If you have 20 and the 20 cannot even do what 10 will do, then you are running a wasteful government.
Edudzi, I need to understand this. Because in one breath, you are saying that naturally the numbers would grow, because of the growing needs of present-day governance. Modern-day governance needs more hands than past governments did. So naturally the numbers would grow. So you appreciate why the numbers are growing, basically. That's on one foot.
I give you a classic example. Okay. If you have a commission under the office of the president,
yes.
you ask yourself, as at 1992, was there anything like his commission?
I appreciate
if
that.
you have today free SHS secretariat under the office of
the numbers would increase.
Obviously.
Okay, so you appreciate why the numbers are increasing.
So because of the new interventions.
Is the NDC's opposition to this number 998 merely because of the MPP's election, what's it called, campaigning? Let me say that.
Yes, I mean,
is it just because the APP said you have an Obolo government?
Not necessarily.
Is that what this is about?
No, it is in two folds. For instance, if you have then candidate Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo say, I will come and protect the public purse. What would be your natural expectation? So that if I was doing two, you do one, so that the cost will come down.
But because realistically, do you think it is possible to do one? That's my question.
Yes. Okay. Yes. That's why I just told you. If you look at the list of people, you have several technical. Let me give you a classic example so that you can do. Today, as we speak, you have a minister of information. Then he has 3 deputies. Okay? So one minister of information, 3 deputies. Now beyond the 3 deputies, okay, you have 5 government spokespersons on different sectors: infrastructure, good governance, health, and what have you. So already in terms of speaking for government, minister, 3 deputies, 4 plus 5, 9. What is the productivity? Now compared to the NDC, where you have only 1 minister of communication and information and
2 deputies.
2 deputies. They achieve. Now, even now, I've not even added communication to it. Because the communication, you have a communication minister and 2 deputies. So if you add the minister for information with the 3 deputies, 4. Minister of communication, 1. Plus 2 deputies. So already we are dealing with 7. That 7, or the work that the 7 are doing, was done by 1
at the
plus
ministerial level.
So you can even look at it from that ministerial level. Now if you come to the office of the president, you have 1 chief of staff and 2 deputies, then several presidential staffers and what have you. Now the question is, what are the specific roles that these individuals are performing? What is it that the 2 deputy chief of staffs are doing that 1 cannot do? So if you put all of this in proper perspective, the claim by the NDC is that, you know what, you could have done this based on your promise. People are simply holding this government to the fire of accountability on the basis of what they said. And I always maintain that nothing convicts a man quicker than his own words.
His own words.
And here is what we should look.
Let's break on that. Nothing convicts a man more than his own words. Well, viewers, I'm sure you didn't grab a bottle of water when we started. This is your opportunity. Grab a bottle of water. We'll be right back.
Unim se waka ho ban bo won sem. Se wapake esi ekota de. Wonam kwan so na akonfo age waka. Na se obi pese efa bibi wo okem abrawani nna ho ene uni haw kra. Bridge vehicle security wo abef mfidie a betimi de abo ka ho ban. Car alarm system. Mobile engine lock. Phone command and notification. Ene ne ekeka ho nyina. Hwehwe bridge vehicle security wo abeka Adama Junction. Ana fre 0276 293 405 ana 03022456535. Bridge vehicle security. Oka ho banbo wonsem.
The Bridge Kiddie tab is your best gadget option for the kids. It is a real tablet with a lot of educational and entertaining apps. It is very strong and durable. Bridge Kiddie tab, the best learning companion for every child.
Welcome back from the break, viewers. Welcome back. We are still talking about this issue of the 998 presidential staffers. Edudzi, you were just saying that the worst way to convict yourself is by your own words, isn't it? It's by so that's why I want us to look at the NDC.
Yes.
I want to know the exact numbers the NDC had.
Yes. You know
we are having two contradicting figures.
I'm even coming there. You see, I have heard the discussion where, for instance, people say, okay, the NDC had 701. Then there's another figure that suggests that no, it was 821 and what have you. I think that what we should know is, for instance, what was the number that was inherited? Because you see, of this list, you have the civil and public servants. You have game and wildlife, parks and garden. All those people work. Persons working at Pedrasi Lodge, Castle Osu, and all of those things. They are all parts of the office of government machinery. You understand? But where you have a situation where the law stipulates that my employment as a presidential staffer is coterminous with the tenure of office of the president appointing me, then it does not lie in your mouth to come and say, oh, I took these staffs from President Mahama.
No, you can't say that.
Because
you can't say that.
Their tenure of office determined. That is why you cannot see Stan Dogbe at the office of the president. That is why you cannot see Michael Pesa White at the office or Dr. Clementa Park or any of those guys. Because as presidential staffers, they are instruments of appointment, and the law regulating their employment states that immediately John Mahama is going, you are going with him.
You're putting at the pleasure.
Exactly.
The Constitution says the pleasure of the president.
And you should also know that even as we speak, the list was presented not by President Mahama, but President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. In fact, he signed under it. So when the public now comes and say, you know what, we think the numbers are too much and that you could have done something about it, it does not lie in your mouth to come and say, oh, you know what, John Mahama left us this. Why? John Mahama never brought a civil service from his hometown in Bole. He never did. So it does not lie in the mouth of anybody to now make that proposition that, you know what, oh, and I listen to the defense minister, for instance, make the point that, oh, we inherited 703 of these numbers from John Mahama. Do you know that even at the Flagstaff House, nurses at the clinic were even changed and new people brought in? So how did you saw what happened to that police officer, Nanka Bruce, when he was assaulted there? The entire security architecture had to be changed. Even television and others had to be changed. How much more the human beings manning those institutions? So the point I'm making is that, in fact, it's marks of dishonesty for you to respond to the legitimate concerns of Ghanaians relative to the numbers. To say that, oh, we inherited this number from John Mahama's administration. No. These are appointments, and that is why the president is the one submitting it to Parliament. And in fact, in any case, my lady, you notice that the president himself in the budget statement had to put that he is going to spend 119 million Ghana cedis on his staff for 2018. And it's in the budget. Parliament approved of it. In fact, the entire allocation to the office of the president this year was close to 1.6 billion Ghana cedis. Out of this amount, for the office of government machinery, the amount just for emolument, that's just for salary. We are not talking about transport here, fuel allowances and what have you. No. Other things done by the office of the president, we've not included it. So let nobody come around and put that argument that, you know, and in any case, I have even maintained that if you look at 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, the combined budget for the office of the president is just the budget for 2018 under Nana Ado's presidency. You can never compare the numbers. You can't. The amount President Mahama expended in 4 years, that's just the allocation for the office of the president in 2018 in 4 years, if you put all of it together. And these are facts. And when Parliament approved of it, the justification was that, oh, the office of the president is handling issues about free SHS, so it's required. The office of the president is going to drill boreholes, is going to buy ambulances. Have you heard the vice president make the point that one constituency, one ambulance? It all falls under that whole. So, in fact, today, the office of the president, as at October last year, advertised in the Daily Graphic the procurement of boreholes. That's where we have gotten to. It is not like anybody saying it. And you see, the danger is that when you have the president himself managing the procurement of items,
that's a problem. Because
you see, if today the president has an issue and he says, oh, the way Edudzi is talking today, he's been very quiet for me, you know. Okay, you go and drill this borehole. You will be the one to procure the ambulance for Domeko Abenya constituency. You know, that's where you live. You will be the one to do this here. That's the danger. Because the president is now the one superintending on procurement. That's dangerous. And that is why you have a situation where, regrettably, you have party apparatchiks coming out to say, oh, this year for our conference, a political party conference, we had 5 million Ghana cedis from the office of the president. We had this amount from the office of the president. Because you see, you just give the man 1.5 billion. Go and spend it.
So to utilize at his pleasure.
Yes.
Edudzi, hold on 1 second. Let's involve the viewers at this point. Well, this one says, what is happening in Ghana? Politicians will destroy Ghana. It's only God who can save us. She says, God have mercy on us. Her name is Obapa in Kumasi. Obapa, don't despair just yet. Do not despair. There's hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel. This one says, the president is just creating jobs for his party boys. So how can you criticize someone that he's using huge numbers to rule and yours is too much? His name is Philibert from Mafe Kumasi. Okay, this one says, okay, I think the number of, okay, it is not the quantity but the quality of people and their tested ability to deliver what he, President Akufo-Addo, wants that matters. If we have 1,000 people and we can also prove that the quality of work they do generates much more than they spend on them, then we can say it's worth it. But if not, then exactly what are they doing? And her name is Sheila from Wa. This one says, Ama, I think what Edudzi means by naturally is that the higher numbers is a natural consequence of unnecessary institutions, units and positions that the president has created under the presidency. He's not saying that it is natural that the numbers have under what he's not saying that it is natural that the numbers, I think you mean to say, have grown under a new president. No, when his name is Kambozideri Jr. in Wa. I hope I got your name right. Edudzi, this person is trying to help you out too.
Yes, I want to run you through some of the records, at least so that you can just quickly. For instance, if you look at the entire budget for the government machinery, 2013 was 300 million Ghana cedis. 2014 it was 326 million Ghana cedis. 2015 it was 453 million, and then 2016 it was 718 million. So if you put 2013 to 2016 together, you have 1.8 billion. That's how much was allocated for the government, and you can look at the budget statement, Appendix A4. Now, if you come to 2017, just 2017, it was 1.5 billion. That's just 2017. If you come to 2018, it's 1.9 billion. In fact, it is just 990 million to hit 2 billion. But even that, government is already planning to overspend that amount, because new things are coming. And let me give you a classic. Because you have put free SHS, for instance, under the office of the president, free SHS is not it's not capital expenditure. It's recurrent. It's like chop money for your wife, because every September you need to pay school fees, and you put it under. So 1 September we are in there, and you spend this amount. What happens? You have to go for more. And that is where this whole problem is coming from. I want a situation where His Excellency the President will speak to the good people of Ghana and say, Ghanaians, today that I have a Minister for Information, 3 deputies, and 5 government spokespersons, plus a Minister for Communication and 2 deputies. This is the result. This is our achievement. And the comparative narrative is simple. And I tell people this. Under the NDC, you have 1 Minister for Transport, Aviation, Railway, everything under it. Very soon the President will go and commission Terminal 3. It was conceived and started by 1 person with 1 deputy. Now, the railway line from Sekondi to Kujokro was done by 1 transport minister and a deputy. That's productivity. Today that you have railway minister separate, aviation separate, what is the productivity? So we need to do the output debate as well. And when you do the output debate as well, it doesn't just add up. What really is the productivity? Those times you have a minister of agric and fisheries and culture separate. Now you have a minister of agric with about 3 deputies. Minister for Aquaculture with a deputy. And we are still battling army worm. As low as army worm. About industrial growth, what is the level of productivity from that end? So if you do a sector by sector analysis of the numbers and the productivity, There's no justifiable basis. So it is not only a question of even the numbers, but even the output that is coming from them.
Efficiency. Because at the end of the day, it's all that matters to me as a Ghanaian, isn't it? How efficient are you? You know.
Absolutely. But the question to ask even ordinary Ghanaian is that, is these numbers leading to better living conditions to them? The level at which they used to buy basic household items. To what extent has these numbers helped in reducing or making their living conditions better? So the fact on the ground does not even support an increasing number. The question of efficiency means that you are the host. Beyond being the host, you are able to regulate. So you are multitasking. You are doing, you know, you are reading messages from viewers, making the show interactive. You could have asked somebody to generate all this thing and be the one doing it. But you are doing the host. You are moderating at the same time, looking at what comment, what to say, what not to say. That's how you do it. That's efficiency. One individual. You could have subdivided these roles to different people to do it. At the end, what will be the productivity? So if we miss the productivity debate, we're going to have a situation where, for instance, you have in the list presented, Kwaku Sechiado, for instance, a man I respect so much, a pioneer media person. He comes up as a consultant, communication consultant to government. He's at the same time board chair for National Communications Authority. My lady, National Communication Authority falls under the is a state agency. So if Kwaku Sechiado can perform this other role for the president can at any time consult him. You agree with me?
Yeah.
Does he need him to be another presidential staffer? How much are we paying for his services? We are not told. At the same time, we do know that he's a board chair. If you go and a list is presented and you have 20 people on, all the role is technical officer, assistant technical officer. You have about 20 people, assistant technicals, and you know that these are guys that you're on social media with. They move from one Facebook page to another, either attacking or doing one way or the other. How is that a technical service? How is carrying the bag of somebody makes you, quote, lady in waiting? These are the critical questions that we need to ask.
But Edudzi, and I'm asking you this question not as a lawyer, and I'm asking you this question as an NDC communicator.
Sure.
Now, you're also throwing questions at me. Shouldn't the NDC have those answers before you come out to criticize the numbers?
we have the answers already.
So you know how much they're earning, for instance?
No, that's the point I made, that the entire sum for the office is 119 million Ghana cedis. The list presented to the parliament obviously does not include how much the individuals take by way, but they are drawing salaries. This is not free service, because the one who is employing them has already budgeted this amount to pay them. So the question as to how much they are being paid is not in doubt. The budget statement is there for all of us to scrutinize. You understand? The same number of people that you have at the office of the president, if you really want to be efficient, you can have people from the various ministries, departments and agencies performing that same role. You have a situation where one department seconds another person to another department. I recall that Dr. Kwesawai, for instance, was a presidential staffer, but he was the executive director for national service. So you won't go to the castle and draw salary as a the Flagstaff House and draw salary as a presidential staffer, and then come and draw salary as executive director of national service. No. Immediately the scandal happened, the president moved him there. Go and perform this task for me, and he ends it. So you are making use of the very little staffs you have to achieve a certain desirable outcome. And the outcome I made mention, for instance, is that if you pick aviation, you have one transport minister doing railway line, doing what shall I say, airstrip. I mean the Tamale airport expansion happened under one minister of transport and a deputy. If you pick, for instance, what is happening in Who, one transport minister and a deputy. Today you have an aviation minister on its own. And I have always made this point. You have a situation where in Ghana you have a minister of interior and 2 deputies.
Yeah.
You have a defense minister and 2 deputies. You have an IGP. You have this, but we are still battling insecurity problem.
Let's involve our viewers at this point. This one said, "Good evening to you. Please tell lawyer Edudzi that he has made my evening complete. He should keep the fire burning." His name is Martin Luther Doji. I hope I got the Doji right. Okay, this person wants your number. You decide. Okay, this one says, "Akufo-Addo is one of the political scammers of our generation. He is okay and has no competence to govern this country. And as our government, 419 government, his name is Lloyd from Kumasi." This one says, okay. This one says, "I think politicians in Ghana don't take the taxpayer seriously. This is really protecting the public purse. I entreat all Ghanaians to always stop lies and speak the truth when it comes to national issues. What is wrong is wrong." You didn't include your name. Please next time include your name. Okay. This one says, "Why the current government is justifying their mistakes using the former administration. We changed the former administration so that you would do the right thing. But I can say Akufo-Addo is worse in the history of our country." This is from Philippet from Mafi Kumasi. Okay. Let me see about the actual text messages. This one says, "Nanado and MPP said GDM and NDC were incompetent. How could the competent be compared to the incompetent?" From Opata inside Osino. Okay. Osino.
On the way to the Kumasi.
Oh, okay. This one says, "As a matter of fact, Nanado has failed Ghanaians. It is my hope that we shall all say bye-bye to Nana in 2020. Well, you didn't add your name. Please next time add your name to the text message. This one says, "Oyi, one enough for you. Good evening, lawyer. You made my day." His name is Gilbert from Asin Fosu. Edudzi.
Ama.
Let's take a break at this point. I see you consulting your notes. We'll come back to the constitutional issues. Okay. So viewers, at this point, we'll take a quick break and come back. Stay with us.
Charlie, I have to go to the
What's that?
The Bridge Kiddie tab is your best gadget option for the kids. It is a real tablet with a lot of educational and entertaining apps. It is very strong and durable. Bridge Kiddie tab, the best learning companion for every child.
Welcome back from that break, viewers. If you are just joining us, you've missed the whole conversation, but let me just give you a little recap. We've been talking about the 998, list of presidential staffers. We have in the studio with us lawyer Edudzi Tamakloe, and he's been giving us some education, this evening on the matter. Like I said before, if you have any views and comments, just send them to the number scrolling in front of the screen. Let me start by reading a few of the messages. Okay, this one says, in fact, the NPP government has nothing to offer Ghanaians. Again, Martin Luther again. He says the name is Joji, right? Did you help me out here? What was this? Joje, sorry, I'm so sorry. Joje. Okay, thank you for sending the messaging. Okay, this one says, good evening, Pan-African TV. I think the man Edudzi is really exposing the huge inefficiency of the NPP government. Please try to educate the public more to see the difference between efficient governments and inefficient governments. God bless you. His name is Francis. Okay, this one says, what is the productivity here? One district, one factory, no result. One village, one dam, no result. Now they are trying to cancel trainees' allowance by introducing degrees. Akufo-Addo is trying to be smart here by introducing degrees at our colleges of education in order to cancel trainees' allowance. Again, this is from Philibert. Yeah, really contributing this evening. Keep it up. This one, okay, I think I've read this already. Okay. Good evening, Edudzi. You made my day, bro. You do it all. These are the real guys we need for Agenda 2020 of NDC. His name is Zola from Ablekuma Central Constituency. Okay. This one says, the worst president Ghana will ever have in history is Nana Addo. Okay, that is your opinion. Edudzi, let's put it all in context. Let's put it all together.
Yeah.
We've spoken about the problem. I want us to find some solutions. Over time, historically, we've noticed that the numbers keep growing. Now you say it's natural that numbers would grow, that a growing country would need a growing government. Please stop calling the WhatsApp line. Would need a growing government. Okay, so that's one. Somebody says that you were being sarcastic by saying that, but what you wanted to say, you're being a little mischievous, and that all you were saying was that we're instituting just a job for the boys or wrong institutions just so they could make some money, whatever it is. The truth is that over time, presidential staffers increase and increase and increase and increase. Now, as a Ghanaian, I'm concerned. I'm not interested in NDC or MPP. I'm concerned as a Ghanaian. What's the way forward? How do we make sure that at some point this doesn't happen again? Now, the suggestion has been made that it's time for us to have a constitutional provision that caps the number, that says, for instance, that you cannot have perhaps above 700 presidential staffers. Do you think that would work? Do you think that's the way to go?
I think that there will be a slight challenge.
What would that challenge be?
The bigger problem for me is a situation where you assume that this number should necessarily be able to resolve a four number of challenges. Okay, if you have a situation where you can just simply say that you don't need a free SHS secretariat in order to get students free education, because if you have a functioning scholarship secretariat together with the Ministry of Education, the two can work together to ensure that the whole program goes on. So that one person, you can help him. I strongly believe that just by readjusting ministries, departments and agencies, you should be able to resolve it. My lady, if you have a situation where you have a minister for local government, then you have a minister for regional integration, okay, and you say that that minister's role will be to ensure the demarcation or realignment or alteration of regions. The constitution itself says that that whole structure forms part of the local governance structure. So the minister of local government.
We are back to the same point.
No, I'm making the point that so you can just by readjusting without a limit resolve the problem. You don't need to put statutory limits, because why I'm not comfortable with constitutional or statutory limits is that the exigencies of the time may require a certain number. We've not gotten there yet. But immediately you put that constitutional limit, you will be restrained to do it within that, number. I am saying that the current thing that we have, most of the hands are not needed. So all we can do is for the president to look at the list again. And just by, with a stroke of a pen, you can tell. No, I mean, we have several, persons, so we don't need, so we don't need this particular one. We have several communication consultants, so we don't need this one. We have several of these persons, we don't need these assistant technical officers. We don't. So just by pen. And let it also be said, even the list that has been presented to Parliament, that's not the entire list. Because I know colleagues that I know work at the office of the president, they are my friend, and their names are not on the list. Their names are not on it. Meanwhile, they are drawing salaries. So, but for me, I am consoled because I do know that the actual budgeted number is 1,600. So the 992 or 998, sorry, so the magic number. I understand those who stake Lotto. They decided to do it 993 because I hear the Lotto number do not go beyond 90. So that's the only way to split it. You can't get 99 and 3. So you do it 99 and 3. Sure, banker. I'm sure you're going to get something out of it. But the most important thing for me is that all we need to do is to scrutinize the list. Once we scrutinize the list.
So you are asking us to appeal to the good conscience of the president?
Absolutely. Okay. Especially because, you see, he appealed to a certain higher principle on the campaign platform that, my predecessor is wasteful, is engaged in profligate expenditure. In fact, I recall 26 May 2009, Osu Ebenezer Presby Church, Nana Addo had a press conference and chastised then President Mills and said, look, this president had promised lean government. Instead of giving us a lean government, he's rather giving a lean kinky. Today, what are we having? Where is the lean government? I have heard the Gabi Asarich, who obviously we know his connection with them, make the point that, the numbers is not what Nana Addo had never said anything about lean government. The record does not support that claim. I've listened to Professor Stephen Adair. Professor Stephen Adair, when he headed GIMPA, his management principle has always been about downsizing and efficiency. Today he says, no, numbers do not matter. Their numbers do matter. And I make the point that numbers do matter because
to the extent of the public first.
Yes, because not only to that extent, but you see, you can achieve more. In economics, there is something we call diminishing returns. If you have the same piece of land and you introduce more labor on that piece of land, the unit productivity from each one of them will go down compared to having only 10 working on that same piece of land. You can measure in terms of how much work they'll be doing. But the more labor, a time will come, the labor will be even more than the land? What have you done? And so it tells you that this principle, you can carry it into governance. The more hands, the same people, too many people doing the same thing. In any case, if you have a situation where you have one minister for information, very well, one minister for information with 3 deputies, you should be asking yourself, with all the mess, with all the media blunders, with all the scandals, how have they been able to effectively communicate? To the extent that even when this whole US agreement came, government has to now source senior citizens to now communicate, or senior journalists to now communicate for them. What it means is that the current minister is possibly not efficient. To the extent that you need 5 more government spokespersons to assist him to speak on government programs and policies. What it tells you is that we are not running an efficient government. Okay. That is all that we are asking for. Okay. And if Nanado has said, you know what, I don't care as to numbers, nobody will hold him to this standard. It is because on the campaign platform, he criticized his predecessor, John Dramani Mahama, for running a government that was wasteful in its expenses, wasteful in its expenditure. When you come, people naturally expect
that yours would be less. Thank you so much, Edudzi Tamakloe.
Thank you.
It's been an educative session with you. I'm most grateful. I'd like to invite you again, but this time we'll be talking about some of the cases that you are dealing with in court. The very famous cases that you are dealing with.
Some of them, they are all, subject case. So.
No, once the cases are over, the implications.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I will not hesitate at all
great,
in honoring the invitation.
Great, that's great. So we have your word that you're coming back.
At least you can hold me to that word. I'm not going to run Obolo government. I am not.
Well, viewers, this has been our show. I hope that if for nothing at all today, you have had some insight, on this issue of presidential staffers. I've learned, a thing or two about the Constitution and its implication in all of this. Well, this has been our show. On Thursday, our show is on medical negligence and its implication. I'm sure you have a lot of issues with one doctor or the other. Send those views in ahead of time, perhaps, so we do the discussion. I see all your messages. Unfortunately, I can't read them because my time is up. Well, let me at this point also acknowledge my sponsors. I'd like to acknowledge Bridge, for this lovely tablet. It's because of this that I'm able to read your messages. I'd like to acknowledge Rudy K Beauty Bar for my makeup. I'd like to acknowledge Bomas Designs for my lovely outfit. And of course, I'd like to acknowledge the very beautiful Miss Betty Fosu of Swiss TV for my lovely hair this evening. Thank you. I enjoyed you. See you soon. See you on Thursday. Bye.